Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Overland Weekly. We have reached episode number 30. My name is Davey. I am the host. If you are new here, you have found the show that discusses the people, places, and events, and we might even add products, especially with this episode, that make up the off-road and overlanding communities. So, that's a little tease there. Before we get into our returning guest for this night's episode, let me make a little plug. If you are not subscribed to the Overland Weekly YouTube channel, and you may be saying, "I'm watching this on YouTube right now, Davey." Of course, I'm subscribed. Well, I appreciate that. We have a lot of folks that prefer to take the show intake the show through their favorite podcast platform, which is wonderful as well. We're happy to have you there. But we did add a new segment to the YouTube channel that we're calling Overland Weekly Trail Cuts. And it is just that. It is raw wheeling footage, not a bunch of commentary you don't care about, not a bunch of music and cinematic effects, just raw wheeling footage. So if you haven't subscribed, go over to YouTube and check out that first video of Overland Weekly Trail Cuts. All right, like I said, we've got returning guest for this episode. About a year ago, we had two gentlemen on, Matt and Scott, from a company called Portal Pros. And at that time, they had made a 3D prototype of a portal box, and then they had made their first machined prototype, and they were out testing it on the Jeep and just kind of getting things going, get the website set up. We're trying to get some early adopters, start spreading the word on their product. And fast forward, it's been a year, and there is a lot that has changed and a lot of good. So let me bring Matt and Scott back in here. Well, we lost Scott.
We're already down one.
This is good.
Well,
did he just disappear?
We'll see if he gets. I think so. He texted me. He said his internet is questionable where he's at.
Oh, so okay. Well, it seemed good until that point.
It really did. Yeah, it was doing great.
Well, all right. That's funny.
New company things, you know.
Oh, here he comes. All right.
There we go.
Oh, look. Now he's back. So, folks, I'm not even going to edit that. Believe it or not, we normally do these shows in one take. It's normally kids or something that run in, but sometimes you just get that bad internet out there in California.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually in Arizona right now. So.
Oh, Arizona. Okay. I see. All right.
Yeah. Traveling for work right now. So.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right. Scott, in the intro, I was catching everybody up to date on where we'd left off a year ago. You guys had just kind of got your prototype box and were out testing it out. And there's a lot that's changed since then. I think one of the biggest things is, I said before, it was kind of, two guys with an idea, two guys with a prototype. And you guys kind of talked about building in public, so to speak, right? We're going to be transparent. We're going to show what works. We're going to show what doesn't work. And you weren't selling a product yet. Well, you were looking for early adopters. But you've managed to build a brand and build a following, and people are you say Portal Pros. People in the game are starting to recognize it, and you haven't shipped any product yet. So that's a pretty impressive feat in itself. So what's that feel like?
It's honestly wild. I mean, like hearing other people say that, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Like the fact that we're getting recognized on the trail. Or even maybe not recognized, but people come up, oh, Portal Pros. Oh yeah, I've watched you on, Instagram or YouTube or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, I guess it means that our strategy has been working. Two engineers trying to do a marketing and branding strategy, and whatever we're doing seems to be working. So yeah. It actually to your point about us.
Well,
right, I was going to say.
You've grown quite the social media following, and it helps when you go down to Mickey's hot tub and roll your Jeep over to to get extra views. I know that's the only reason you did it. So
That
we'll get into all
Nailed
that.
it.
was a little oopsie, yeah.
But it was, I mean, beautiful product placement for the logo on the side of the. There must have been like 4 camera angles that caught that as well. So.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't. That was at Easter Jeep Safari. But you guys, I know, have kind of done a road show and been to some other events, some other rides. What's the circuit kind of look like over the last year?
Oh man, we have been hitting just about anything we could possibly hit. So yeah, the beginning of the year, I guess King of the Hammers was the first one. Then I guess EJS was the next one, so probably April.
Yeah.
And then we went to Overland Expo and actually shared a booth with Patrick Perry from Perry Parts.
Yes.
So that was cool. Get to hang out with him. And then I don't know, from there, it's just been any chance that there's a group or a club or whatever that we could get out, especially local trails. I mean, like, or local-ish, Rubicon, Fordyce, whatever. We've been to a few other kind of local events like Sierra Trek and Jeepers Jamboree, which was actually the first time that Matt and I had ever been on Jeepers Jamboree, which is a pretty big trip or run on the Rubicon. We've been on the Rubicon a million times, but not with 1,200 other people. So that was cool.
That's a lot of vehicles. Yeah.
Yes, I think there was 500 or 550 participants. Vehicles that were participating, and then I don't know how many volunteer rigs and whatever. It's a very large event.
Well, that's cool. And yeah, speaking of Patrick, Patrick and I were talking about you guys because we were wheeling together back in June, and he said, "I'm going to get him to the East Coast. It's going to happen next year. So
yeah,
we're gonna put those portals to the test over here."
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, what about the before we talk about that Mickey's adventure? What about the Jeep itself? Because in addition to the portals and all the iterations, I think the company rig has seen some other upgrades.
Yeah,
as well.
It's gone through a glow up for sure. Yeah. So I think when we were on here last time, it was not stock certainly, but it's got Rubicon Dana 44 axles, so they're stock JK axles. It had sliders and bumpers and all that stuff. But now we went from some basically bald 37-inch tires to some 40-inch Mickey Thompsons, which are just for Northern California, I think is possibly the best tire that there is for wheeling. We have our own custom wheels with integrated TTIS. We've got and custom backspacing. I don't know what else. I feel like that doesn't list it.
Here, I'll go to my cheat sheet here. I think we had some steering upgrades.
Oh yeah. PSC steering kit, metal cloak control arms, because we put a 2-inch little spacer lift on it originally, and the which is still on there actually. We still have the stock coils where everything else has been replaced. So the control arms, we got some nice Fox shocks on there, or whatever. Which also that was Hammers was the first time we got to drive around with the new shocks on, and Matt and I were like, "This is disgusting. Like how does a vehicle, a Jeep on 40s, drive this well on dirt?"
Is this what driving off road is supposed to feel like? Because I've never felt like this before. This is
coming from our
it's a whole new world.
I was going to say that the XJs never felt like that.
No.
Well, you're putting shocks on that cost as much as shocks. The XJ now. Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the majority of it. I mean, and then I was mentioning, I have the 2-inch spacer lift. So it is the stock coils. And when it did that, the caster basically went to 0. So then it was getting terrible death wobble. So I called up Metal Cloak. I'm like, I just need, upper control arms to adjust the caster, whatever. And they were like, really? You're really only going to get upper control arms? Come on, replace them all. You're going to break them at some point. I was like, all right, you're right. So it's definitely gone through a glow up. It's honestly, it's freaking awesome now. Like it drives great. It steers great. It still drives on the highway, no problem. I've actually driven it to Arizona and Utah and whatever. So it's not that comfortable, it's still a Jeep on 40s, but it's on the highway anyway.
But did you guys drive to most of the events, or did you trailer?
We've about 95% of them we've driven to. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we trailered to King of the Hammers and Moab. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Yeah, the longer ones, or actually we only trailered to King of the Hammers because I had to drive actually back to Arizona, and I took a different car, so I didn't want to take the Jeep. So yeah, we have mostly driven. I mean, every time I go to the Rubicon, every time I go to the Fordyce, which is like, you know, maybe a 400-mile round trip, something like that on a highway, I drive it every single time. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So let's talk about Mickey's hot tub, and I will we'll pause right here, and I'll go in and edit that clip if there's somebody that hadn't seen it yet, so they're up to speed of what happened. But yeah.
Good, come forward. As you start coming out, start turning driver. That looks good right there, though. There you go, driver. Reverse.
Oh, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. You're okay. We're okay. Well,
Tell us how that unfolded.
Well, so earlier in the week, or even in the day, we were noticing that as we're going up steep climbs, that the transmission would like go into limp mode or something. So you'd like be giving it gas. It's going.
I had this suspicion that's where this was going. Yeah.
So it would just like, you know, ka-chunk, and then all of a sudden it's in neutral or whatever.
Right.
It just wasn't not giving, wouldn't go forward. And so kind of like put that in the back of my mind. I was like, I want to hit Mickey's hot tub. We're with this guy. I think his name is Jeremy. He does tours out in Moab. He lives out there because we're with EJS. He's one of the tour guides, whatever. I'm like, okay, so this is going to be the best possible situation. It's completely dry. I got to hit Mickey's hot tub. This is going to be so awesome. Like Jeep's built for it. 3 or 4 JKs or JLs went right in front of me. I'm like, okay, there's no problem. We're going to get right through this. So get in there. Jeremy gets me lined up. So we're, you know, perfect line, everything. He's like, okay, so as you come up, you know, give us a throttle, turn a little bit. Okay. So I'm, you know, following the instructions, going up. I get to the absolute critical point where it's like, there's no turning back, and it just goes into limp mode. And I got no throttle, and I just stabbed the throttle, absolutely nothing.
And
like,
nothing happened.
Oh no. You know? And then, you know, Jeremy, again, he's just totally awesome. He's screaming, reverse. So I managed to get into reverse, but it was like, by the time I did it, it was way too late. So I was already going upside down. And really, honestly, I wasn't thinking about like, oh, I'm going to get hurt or the Jeep's really going to get messed up. I was just thinking, oh, I'm another one of these guys in Mickey's hot tub that's flipping over. And the comments on the internet are going to be so mean. So yeah, I mean,
and they were.
That's the first time I've ever rolled a Jeep. Any of like our, you know, wheeling buddies, we've never rolled anything. So yeah, it was a new experience for us. Thankfully, I was totally fine. I got like good bucket seats in the Jeep, so I didn't move at all. And really, the damage wasn't even too bad. The hard top got smashed, the back tail light got smashed. You know, a pillar got smashed a little bit, but the windshield was intact. So, and then the crazy thing was, you know, the hard top was like, it was gone. It needed to be replaced.
Right.
And then Dan Mick, who's one of the tour guides out there as well, he comes by. He's like, you know, maybe 20 minutes after we get it rolled back over, we're out, whatever, and we're pulling the spark plugs. And he's like, hey, if you guys want to swing by my shop to pick up a new hardtop, I think I have 3 JK black hardtops. We're like, I mean, you know, his shop is 5 minutes down the road from the start of Hell's Revenge, which is where the trail we were on. So the next day or the day after, we had taken off the existing hardtop, went to the dump, dumped it for like $10. Took some pictures, you know, it's kind of sad, whatever. And then we went to his shop and he sold us a new hardtop. So we drove home with a new hardtop on.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I think
so
within like 5-10 minutes after you rolled it, you were sitting out and like started to calm down, and I was like, man, you know, the amount of views we're gonna get on the internet, like I don't think I could have paid for that many ads.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
for the cost of a hardtop, you know.
Yeah.
Like it definitely took off from there. That was like the beginning or the middle of our making a name for ourselves, I guess. Which, you know, things to make a name for yourself for. We'll take it. All
you had
publicity
to do
is good publicity, you know.
I guess you just had to replace your sticker collection on the glass, maybe, and that's about it. Yeah,
pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay, and yeah, it was eventful to watch. I remember when it kind of hit social media there right after it happened, and it was wild. Like you said, Matt. I mean, there's like 4 different camera angles of it, so that was good.
Yeah.
But you put a new top on it. You pulled the plugs out and fired it back up and wheeled the rest of the day, right?
Yep. And thankfully, there also happened to be a mechanic watching while this happened, and so we start to go. We're literally pulling up YouTube to figure out how to get the cover or the intake cover off the JK motor to pull the plugs. And he walks up. He's like, "You guys want some help?" And we're like, "Yes." And he just grabs the tools, does it for us, pulls all the spark plugs. 20-25 minutes, he has them out, puts it, and then we crank it over. No oil comes out. Okay, we're good. He puts it back together. I mean. Yeah,
that's wild. So you spent a lot of time taking those axles apart and back together, but never had to mess with the engine on that. Yeah.
I've never taken the spark plugs out myself. So very fortunate. It was maybe an hour and a half from the time we flipped to the time we were driving again. And and then Matt drove for a little bit because I was just like totally shaken up, whatever. The adrenaline literally the adrenaline you get from that. I mean. And like, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I've ridden motocross, mountain bikes, whatever. I was like totally shaking. I mean, Matt, I like had to sit down. I was really out of it. So Matt was driving initially, but then when we got to the last obstacle, I forget what's stair steps or something like that.
Yeah.
Staircase. Yeah. I was like, Matt, I need to drive. I need to like get this out of my head. That I just flipped this thing. I just need to drive. So yeah, I mean, it was all in all, not too bad.
All in a day's work,
There you go. There you go. And the portals survived. Now there I know there might have been something that led to another failure that we'll talk about in a little bit. But you drove out and wheeled a lot more on them. So you were talking about driving to the events. How many road miles do you think you've done on the portals now? And has there been any surprises on the road?
Yeah, early on, definitely.
Okay.
I was mentioning driving to Arizona. Yeah, a couple of exciting ones. Actually, mild, but I think we have about 13,500 something like that miles. Yeah, okay. So I mean, we have been, so it's been just about 13 months since we put the portals on. So yeah, I mean, 1,000 miles a month. I don't know. I guess it's normal like commuter driving type miles, but for an off-road, Jeep on 40-inch tires, it's pretty good. And then to the surprises, the main ones were like I said early on when we had a different design on our the cover that acts as the it's kind of like a hub cover, and it acts as the locking mechanism to keep the output nut from coming loose. Okay. So how like a Dana 44 old like the spindle socks, you have the lock nut or whatever. Yep. So we went with a little bit of a different strategy on that, and we had these small screws that were holding those in, and also the cross section was like very narrow, small aluminum part. And so at least one of the drives I was coming back from Arizona, and I park in my drive or in the garage, 12 hours driving, whatever. And I get out and I look, and the aluminum part had actually split all the way around and was like separate. So basically nothing was holding that nut from coming loose again. And that happened maybe 2 or 3 other times. I mean, this was like all within a span of like 3 or 4 weeks because we didn't have the new parts. But as soon as that happened, we're like, okay, we're redesigning that, obviously. Right. And we also had other problems where like those screws would just come loose because they were like M4, M5 screws. So they're sitting there spinning at 800 RPM on the freeway for hours and hours. Of course they come loose. We changed that design. So now it's like some machined in features that interlock, and then there's a snap ring that holds that piece in. So since we've done that, we've had no problems. But I think that's probably the biggest in terms of road issues. It's just those covers.
Well, speaking of iterations, so a year ago, when we were talking about that prototype, you tried to go to a thinner gear, to a 3/4 inch gear, and that failed. And you're like, we're going to do a 1 inch, and it'll be good. But bring us up to speed because that's changed again.
Yeah. So we ran the 3/4 inch ones; those failed. And from the beginning, we had the inch and a quarter, which is what we kind of thought we needed. So we were running that in side by side with the 1 inch gears, and the 1-inch gears made it all the way up to about 6 months in, and we went to King of the Hammers and did some King of the Hammers things with it, and lost those gears as well. When we kind of did all the teardown, which we did in our booth in Hammertown, which was also hilarious.
Which is on their YouTube page, folks. You can go watch the teardown from King of the Hammers. Yeah.
Yeah. When we did the teardown, we were looking at it. It was partially the gears were thinner. We know that they're not going to be able to handle as much load. It was also the way that we like designed the thinner gears. There was an oil channel that was like directly under the teeth, and it was eating into a lot of the like meat that the gear had to it that was going to resist those torque loads, and it was prone to failure. So since then, we ditched the 1-inch gears and we said inch and a quarter. Like that's the one we thought from the beginning we needed anyway. Let's just call it there. We got rid of some of the oil channels because we realized we didn't need them. So it's significantly stronger than anything that we've broken so far. And since then, we've never had any issues since Hammers. And some of the gears are the 1 1/4 inch gears are original when we first put the prototypes together. So those ones have been through those 13,000 miles or whatever and have been doing really well. So.
Well, and the other one other quick change on the design as well is, or more like manufacturing, is we're doing forgings for the gears, so those will be a little bit stronger. So
cool.
Yeah, they should be quite a bit stronger than what we have now, and we haven't had any failures on this current set with the wider gears.
So I think the most recent change that I've seen that you guys shared was with the output flange. Which you think that failure may be attributed to what happened at Mickey's, but to play it safe, it sounded like, you guys tell me, it sounded like you were like ready to go to production, and then we're like, oh, we got to change this.
Yeah, even worse than just ready to go. We had sent the money.
Okay, yeah. And I've dealt with enough machine shops to know that once they got your money, they're moving. Yeah.
Yeah, so thankfully the supplier we're working with was willing to work with us. So we had sent the deposit, and it was actually while we were at Jeepers Jamboree, we had locked everything down. We're using our Starlink to send the money, and then 2-3 days later we realized that it was broken. And so yeah, we had the output flange is kind of like a hub sort of, and it goes into our output bearing, which is a tapered roller bearing. And so the shoulder where the bearing or the bearing sits against, and the diameter or the shaft part of the flange that goes in the bearing, it broke right at that corner. And so, that was the one that broke was the one that we basically laid the entire rig over on top of a Mickey's hot tub, like you're saying.
Yeah, it held the whole weight. Yeah.
Yeah, it held the whole weight. So all 6,000 pounds of Jeep on it. We flipped it back over again on that tire with the leverage of a 40-inch tire swinging down. So, that particular one had seen a little bit extra abuse. And then, to add to that, 2 days after rolling it, we also jumped the Jeep, which was kind of crazy because who jumps a Jeep? To be fair, it was like 8 inches of air, but it was still in the air.
It counts.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, that was like April EJS, and then it survived, I don't know, 4 or 5 Rubicon trips, Sierra Trek, or not Sierra Trek, Fordyce, and then finally we're like in the middle of Jeepers Jamboree, and Matt was driving, I'm kind of out filming, and I hear this like weird clicking sound coming from the back left, and we're like, might be the portal, or maybe it's just regular Jeep noises, like it would come and go, whatever. So we're probably like a mile or 2 into the trail, so we just kept going. We're like, it's still working, it seems fine. And then we made it all the way to the campsite, Rubicon Springs, which is like another 4 or 5 miles past that. So we like drove the whole Rubicon Trail, then tore the thing apart a couple days later, and realized that we had completely broken that part, which holds the wheel on.
Yeah,
it's kind of critical.
It's kind of critical. Yeah.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that, we drove the Rubicon Trail, like a half the trail with a broken part, so that's kind of, makes us feel better that, hey, even if someone has a catastrophic failure, they'll make it to the end of the trail, But yeah, then, so that was Saturday. We realized that it was broken. We repaired it with a spare one, everything. And then Sunday night when we got home, I'm just furiously looking up like, oh, how can we replace the bearing? Can we change the diameter? How, So we made a handful of changes. Probably the biggest ones are things like the corner radius that was there was maybe like 1 millimeter. We increased it to 2 millimeters. It's literally twice as big. The surface finish on that particular spot, so it's a turned part or a lathe part, and it basically fractured right between the rough grooves of the turning tool. So we changed that so it's a higher surface finish. And then we also increased the diameter. So it's the wall thickness went from like 5 millimeters to 10 millimeters. So it's literally double the wall thickness. And then we, in addition to all of that, so like from the geometry standpoint, and we did an FEA analysis, it's literally twice as strong as the old design. And then we also changed from a carbon steel to an alloy steel. So it's going to be better in terms of fatigue loading. So all across the board, these things took a lot of abuse. Special case, like we said, flipping over in Mickey's hot tub. And then we just made it twice as strong and put a better material in it. So going forward, we're pretty confident it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, so you're the boxes are in production now. They're getting made as we speak. How did you reach the point that you said, okay, this is it. We're good? Because I mean, there's a few different ways to go about that, and you'll never be 100% confident. You're lying to yourself if you say you are. But what? How did you guys say, all right, no more iterations? It's time to produce.
Yeah, I think for me it's that confidence level thing, right? Like from the beginning, the outset, we said we want to make sure we're testing this as much as we possibly can, so that a customer doesn't have a failure, because I wouldn't want to be that customer in the middle of nowhere with a broken portal or something else, So I think by the fourth or fifth iteration, we put it all together and we had driven it, a few thousand miles without any failures. All of those things kind of combined to where, we slowly started with I have no confidence at all. I'm surprised it's spinning to yeah, I would be perfectly comfortable driving this to the Rubicon, doing the trail, driving it all the way home, and not being nervous about it at all. That was the level I wanted to be at. And I think we definitely got there.
Isn't that wild,
the
Matt?
fifth trip in a row.
Isn't that wild, Matt? Because I remember when you guys were so excited that your 3D printed model just functioned.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
Look,
going
it spins.
Yeah. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then when we put them all on the Jeep, the first prototypes, and we were like, "Oh my God, it spins when you put it in drive. You can move down the road. How amazing!" And now it's yeah, I'd put 40-inch tires on these and run up to the Rubicon and run it all day and drive home.
Yeah. Well, so as your first shipments are expected to ship out in October, is that correct? From the
November, but yeah,
November.
Yeah.
Okay,
pretty soon.
It's coming.
Yep.
So inevitably, people will take these and abuse them, and things will break, and it's part of the process. And everybody, especially the early adopters that are supporting you, understand that. I believe that this community, from the folks I've talked to. So what did you plan in terms of serviceability? I mean, we've talked about before, these are your system is designed so that it can be installed, in the driveway on a set of jack stands. But what does the serviceability look like after guys go out and beat on these things from a maintenance standpoint? And I guess the follow up to that is, are there additional parts, bearings, seals, that kind of thing, do you need to have a portal kind of spare parts kit when you're on the trail? Because you guys have had a spare box with you, and not, everybody would love to carry one, but that's not necessarily financially feasible. So
yeah, I think on the serviceability one, I think as guys that have worked on their own junk a ton, serviceability was one of the things that we had in the design goal in the beginning. And certainly our first design, I would say, started down that road, but was not very serviceable. We at least weren't happy with it. So as we've broken things and had to take it apart on the trail and had to take it apart in the middle of nowhere and add hammers and put it back together,
Like
we
those,
have gone
like those
through,
little bitty screws that you guys kept
Yes.
getting
those
that at?
damn
Yeah.
I remember, I think one of our YouTube videos, I'm sitting there in, whatever trail we were on at Hammers, pulling it apart, and I was like, I'm so glad we got rid of these stupid tiny screws as I'm pulling it out on an old prototype. So things like that, we've definitely, over the 4 or 5 iterations of parts that we've gone through, have improved a ton to where now, again, we're pretty confident that like they're very easy to work on. They're easy to install for one, which was a big push, but they're also like, if something breaks or if you need to do something to them, they're easy to get apart. They're very straightforward in the tools that you need, and that tool list is pretty short, right? You only need 5 or 6 hand tools to pull the entire box apart and do whatever you need to do with it. So we've spent a lot of time on that because we hate working on stuff that's painful in the dirt, and you're screaming at it, and you're like, why did Jeep engineers design it this way?
Yeah, I think two more things. Like we've designed it not only so you can install it or remove it in the in your driveway, but also at some point someone's going to need to take one of these things off on the trail. We've certainly had to, and we just wanted it to be easy enough that you could do it and not be totally pissed. I didn't bring my weird little crazy pliers that have to reach up somewhere, or whatever.
Right. So to Matt's point, because I've seen your teardown videos, you could have a dedicated small tool bag with just the hand tools. That could be the portal bag, and everything you need is there.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, in terms of failures, so these are custom parts. I mean, pretty much everything is in there other than the bearings, the seals, whatever. But like the gears, we're the only ones that can get them, right? Or for now. But the thing is, we designed it from the beginning so that you could have a complete failure and still get off the trail or even drive home. So really all you need intact to get off the trail is, because let's say you break the gears or whatever, you just need the output shaft, the output flange, and the cases to be intact, and you can keep driving. You can remove all the gears, and then it'll still function as basically just a dead hub. So you'd be in 3-wheel drive, but the idea is, I mean, of course someone's going to break a gear at some point. There's no way that we could go 100% never having a problem with that, right? So
someone's going to launch it off of something and hammer the throttle when they land, and it's going to do something. Like we tried to make sure that even when you did that, it didn't break. But man, someone's going to find a way, I'm sure.
Listen, Patrick. I've got Patrick Perry high on that list of my bets.
Yes, he does seem to break gears and everything else. So why not in portals? So
that's true.
Yeah.
He's got a real habit of it now. He's really good at changing the opinion cell.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, to Matt's point earlier, we are wheelers, and we have had situations where like I had to get towed home from the Rubicon Trail one time because I broke something. So we have had that in the back of our minds. Like, if everything goes wrong, can you still make it at least off the trail to a tow truck? And the answer is definitely yes.
No, that's awesome. And I think that's what maybe separates you guys from somebody that just outsources this engineering to folks that aren't wheelers, right? You get it that it's one thing to draw it up on the computer, but to actually understand how it's going to be abused, because abuse is the word. That's what's going to happen to it. I mean, that's what we do. Yeah. The dumb part of this whole hobby is
how close to the line can you get, and you don't know where the line is.
And the later at night it gets, that line tends to kind of shift. So all right, Matt, talk to us about the current status of CTIS, because a year ago you'd played with that. You got frustrated with that. You'd tried a few different things. So where are we at as it stands today?
Yeah, the frustration continued after our last conversation, I would say. I don't know how many different people we've talked to about seals, but it's more than I ever thought I was going to do. We have been through so many different seal design and output shaft design options to try and figure out how we make an air and oil seal combo that won't leak. won't let air into the portal, won't let oil out of the portal. We've had issues going both directions. I think at this point we've got a path forward that we like.
Okay.
We are still, I would say, still in that phase where we're building confidence with it. But at this point, it's like a multi-stage seal on one side and then an additional internal seal on the other side of the output shaft in a combo to like create a fully separated, like dual separated system of air and oil. So they shouldn't ever be anywhere near each other. But yeah, we're still building all that confidence and trying to make sure that the seal system is going to work. And then the controller side of it is still kind of up in the air. We've had some conversations with a number of people on how we would solve that and kind of try to bring a package solution to the whole thing. Those conversations are still ongoing. So we're working that while we're also making some portals.
Understood. Well, I mean, it's everybody wants it, but it's, not having it does not affect the wheeling. I mean, unless you're like our buddy Nate Pickle and you just don't want to put your feet in the snow instead to do it all from inside the cab. But yep. I mean, it's cool, but it's not going to stop anybody from getting the portals. So
yeah. And if we sacrifice, making sure the portals work to make CTIS work, I think people will be more mad at us. So
I will agree.
We're focusing, I think, in the right areas.
Yes, yeah. Your focus is there. So, all right, let's talk about the value of your system and the dollars of it. And if you didn't see the last episode, which, like I said, it's been a year ago, but the guys have done what they said they were going to do, and so they've brought these portals to the market. They're $15,000. That is for all four corners. That is everything you need. That is the axle shafts. That's the nuts and bolts. The whole deal. Now there's a lot of competition in the market. Prices have shifted in the market since you guys started. But outside of the dollar value, which is still one of the strongest dollar values that I've seen in the market, refresh people on the benefit of your design and the modularity aspect of the design.
Now you want to talk about it? You want me to
go? Go ahead.
Easy question. No, portals are the best thing ever. Yeah. So a portal axle, it's giving you a lift, in our case, 4-inch lift. And specifically it's underneath your axles. So like with a solid axle setup, your differential is going up 4 inches, not just the chassis. You're not just extending your springs, not just extending your shocks. So that's obviously one of the biggest components of this. So just to give an example, under the test sheet that we have with our Dana 44 axles and the 40-inch tires, we have about 17 inches of ground clearance underneath the diff, which is 5 or 6 inches more than what you would typically have, like 40-inch tires on a Dana 60 or something like that. So that's massive. I mean, it just opens up so many line choices. Especially out here with the big rocks that we drive over. So there's that. And then there's a gear reduction that's happening in the box. So it's a 1.25 reduction. So that basically means you're getting a regear as you bolt this thing on. So it's, for example, if you have 410 gears, like in a Jeep Rubicon, you would end up with 513 gears. So the idea is you can bolt these things on. You got your lift, you've got your regear. You can, in one day, basically go from like not a rock crawler to a rock crawler that's running 37 or 40-inch tires. And then in addition to all that, the reduction itself actually reduces the torque going up to your upstream component. So it's because it's at the very, very end of your drivetrain. You've gone through your transmission, your transfer case, your drive shaft, differential, all that. This thing is reducing it at the very end where your axle shafts are, which is a very common failure point, U-joints, axle shafts. So this is actually giving you about 20% less torque going to those critical components. So you're just less likely to break them. So you don't have to necessarily upgrade to chrome moly shafts. So like that's what we're still running stock front axle shafts
in the Dana 44.
In the Dana 44, yeah, which is a known kind of weak shaft. And with 40-inch tires, and obviously we're doing all these trails and whatever. So
right,
and then it also. I think there's some debate about this, but generally the accepted knowledge is that a higher gear ratio in your differential means weaker gears ish, especially when you're talking like Toyota's going to 529s. You just have like so
Well,
huge,
that's
huge
that's
staging.
the excuse the Tacoma guys use when they're breaking. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
it's funny because like I said, there's some debate about that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, regardless, it's making it stronger, or at least reducing the loads getting to it. So effectively, it's stronger. And all of that, yeah, just like I was saying, you bolt it on in a day.
Right.
You know, it's not this weekend doing your lift kit, and then the next weekend you got to take out the axles and drop them off at the gear shop, and then then this and that, and all the things you got to deal with. So yeah, it's a really nice, simple bolt-on, one-day install. Like we were saying, you could do it in the dirt. We're actually talking about doing a video where we like go out somewhere on a trail and just do an install on someone's rig. So like to prove the point, because I mean we've swapped portals on the trail, and it's like
This is going to be like a Pimp My Ride episode, but you're
you got your scores out. Yeah.
Yeah. So from a dollar value, I mean that math is pretty easy, and obviously, I mean there's pros to it, there's cons to it as well, and people can weigh the decision that's right for them. But one of the things about your design that I think makes it so unique is your use of these adapter plates, and the fact that once you make these modifications, in this case, putting the portals on, if something happens to that vehicle, you can take them with you.
Yeah. So like you said, fully modular design. So the actual box is the same at any application. There's just different parts that go in it. So like, for example, if you have we have our JK down the road, I buy a Tacoma, something like that. If I want to go to the dark side, yeah, we can swap out, going from a Jeep to a Toyota is a little bit more complicated than going like, JK to JL. But certainly you can just swap out all the parts. It's really not too big of a deal to do it. Probably, a weekend you could have it swapped and then installed again. So yeah, the idea is, again, you can bolt these things on immediately. And then also it's a one-time investment. So
right,
buy it, and then it's kind of with you for your career of wheeling until you decide that you don't like portals because it's too easy to make it through all the trails.
and so I'm assuming at some point in the future, they'll be able to call you or on the website and just order the conversion pieces needed for one to the other.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So it's not available right now because we're not there yet, but yeah, we will.
Right now, it's call us and we'll figure it out. The website is a separate thing.
Well, the website has been updated because I looked at it today, and I remember looking at it a year ago, and it's definitely had some glow up. So
it also had a glow up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at our head web designer right here.
You can tell how good the quality is by how much we pay him.
Brutal.
Man,
I don't know. I will say it has improved a ton. I'm very much more pleased with the website than I was probably you were thinking about a year ago.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It was like some Polaroid pictures of you guys with the XJ like a year ago, like and holding up that 3D printed Fisher Price looking portal.
Yeah.
So
I'm Fisher Price.
All right. So talking about production, obviously right now you're outsourcing all the production. Like you said, Matt, you're in your garage. That's becoming an assembly center.
This assembly station 1, packaging and shipping, storage. That's it. That's the whole place.
Yeah. And I know, Scott, a lot of the R&D has happened in your garage at your house. So, there's no 3-axis machines there. You guys are not doing the machining. You've got trusted shops that you have doing that. So I guess talk about that, kind of the challenge, or maybe it wasn't a challenge, of finding people that were at the right price that you felt could deliver what they said they could deliver, and that will be there for the foreseeable future. Because, and I guess that brings a broader question: what does the plan look like 3 or 4 years from now if this all takes off and goes like we all want it to, do you bring the production in house? Are you or do you continue to outsource?
Yeah, I think at the start, it's kind of a means to an end thing for us.
Yep.
As far as picking suppliers, like fortunately, that's our day job, right? We're both manufacturing engineers, dealing with suppliers, knowing which ones are going to be good, which ones are going to be bad, auditing them, vetting, how you could go to production with them is kind of our bread and butter. So finding a supplier, I would say, was not the challenge in the beginning. But as you said, we are in a garage. I'd love and could run a CNC machine, but I don't have the space or the money or everything to get it started. So for now, we know that this is kind of our short to medium term plan. Eventually, we do want to bring as much of the manufacturing in-house as we can, just because we know we have the capability. Right now, it's a time and funding thing for us for the most part. Like, this was a lot easier for us to get parts quickly, get things off the ground, get production moving to a level that we think we can definitely deliver with. And we know that this supplier, honestly, if we wanted to keep them along, they could ramp up production to the level of whatever we could possibly even dream of, right? We know they have that level of capability. So bringing it in-house is more of a personal goal and want that helps. One, it helps us bring our costs down, but also like having the control to be able to do small batches and R&D and all that stuff within our own space and not having to outsource that. And then just having a little more control over the production is good in the long run. So in a few years, we'd love to be sitting in a machine shop talking to you saying, here's my 6 mills behind me running cases and steel plates and everything else. But for now, we're confident in the path that the suppliers that we have and the path that we have right now to deliver for the next couple of years. And eventually, if we want to buy some machines, we can get down that road.
Yeah. And I think I'm not a machining expert, but when you talk about buying machines, from what I see, you don't.
Yeah, Matt literally is so.
I literally, that's all I do.
I believe that. I believe that. But my point is, you don't need some super fancy, overly complicated mills to produce what you're putting out.
Correct. Yeah. So that was also one of the goals in the beginning was bringing costs down through design efforts. So it's also, finding the right suppliers, vetting those suppliers, finding multiple suppliers to compete with each other. All that stuff is kind of stuff we had to do. But even from the beginning, it was like, how do we make this design the easiest thing we can possibly make? How do we keep it to 3-axis mills? How do we keep the tolerances as loose as we possibly can while maintaining the quality that we need? All of those things kind of go into like making sure that we can make a product at scale at a price point that we think we can hit really well. So yeah, if we do go down that road and we buy machines, it's not like we need the $1 million, Hermle 5-axis machine that can make the best parts in the entire world. It's like, I need to hold bearing tolerances and machine 3-axis cases and steel plates with, generic hole patterns. Like, the design is simple enough that we can do it very easily with, medium quality machines. I'm not going to say we're going to go cheap out on the cheapest Chinese thing we can find, but there's definitely machines out there that we can make work that are going to be easy to set up and easy to get moving pretty quickly.
No, that's good. So what about the QC? I'm assuming it's happening right behind you there as you're putting these things together.
Partially, yeah. So there's a lot of it actually that happens at the supplier sites. So we've gone and visited a lot of them just to make sure that they have the QC department that we're confident in. Again, part of the day job is like, I got to go vet the supplier. They can make parts, but if they're not measuring them right, it doesn't mean anything. So they all have like their own QC shops that are CMMs and everything to measure parts and check dimensions. And they give us full reports for every case and every part that they send us that says, here's all the dimensions, here's the ones that are in spec. If there's any out of spec, we pull those parts out, stuff like that. And then of course we then review that when we get all the parts here, we open up the boxes, we're looking to double check, making sure that the visual stuff is also intact to the level that we want to before we start to assemble everything. If anything looks off, we're setting it to the side, it goes back to the supplier, etc. But so it's kind of a mix of both us and them working together to make sure that we're producing parts that we're confident in And then, of course, we put them all together here. We're sitting there looking at them, making sure everything looks right. Give it a spin. Does it feel right?
Bearings aren't banging around in the case.
Exactly. Yeah. All those things are call it hand checked by us, the assembly team that we have.
The assembly team. Yeah.
And then they check it again when they do the shipping.
That's a different department. That's the shipping department. Yeah.
You have to move 2 feet to the right to get to there.
Guys, let's talk a little bit about the kind of the non-engineering side of it, the side that I'm assuming maybe was more of a challenge or more surprises for you guys coming from your background. This whole we're a couple of corporate engineers, and now we're going to be first-time founders on this company. What's been the most difficult non-engineering skill to learn in this? Because I know how it is. You've worn a lot of hats. You've watched a lot of YouTube. You've Googled a lot of how does a business do ABC. So what's been some of those challenges?
I don't know if we have like one specific thing. I think it's honestly learning all these new skills. Yeah. Like, I've been doing editing on our YouTube videos. I hadn't edited a video since some high school project that I put together, 15, 20 years ago, whatever. Learning how to make a website, the first website, cranked it out in like a day, and then, kind of crappy, but that's what it was. And then we've iterated since then. I don't know, even like doing regular communication. Communication is a big part of our careers. But sending out email updates. We have an email list, that we've been once a month send out, hey, here's what's going on. And I mean, just staying on top of that. We've certainly had days where it's like, wait, is this the end of the month? We haven't even talked, it's 10 p.m. Like, oh, we haven't even talked about doing an update. And, Matt, we need to get a draft together so we can send it out, So I don't know. It's just all of that stuff. And
that's the part people don't see. That's what makes it tough. And I work with small businesses and founder-led businesses every day. And getting those things set up the first time is one thing. You're energized and you do it, but it's the continual effort into all those little things that make it a success.
Yeah, totally. What's the other one that I was going to say? I guess the other thing is, you were mentioning, corporate engineers, which is totally accurate. So we weren't really customer facing at all. I mean, never actually. So we would interface with suppliers. So we were always the customer in any of those types of interactions. So they're the ones, rolling out the red carpet or whatever, asking if we need coffee. And now we're on the other side of it, doing, direct to consumer type sales, right, and going and setting up a booth and having to talk to all kinds of different people. And that part, we're fairly personable, especially for engineers. But
low bar, yeah,
low bar. But yeah, practicing, doing our quote unquote sales pitch, and how do we start a conversation with some stranger that's walking up, staring at our booth or staring at the portal that's in the booth. That part, I think we have both improved significantly over time. And I think I have a leg up on Matt a little bit because my dad was a wedding photographer. So he could just, like we were saying, I think before the show, getting Dave, he'll talk anyone, he'll walk up to anyone, have a strike up a conversation. He'll be their best friend, and that's just something that I think Matt and I both didn't really have, but apparently it's in my genes. So I'd say I've certainly excelled, getting into that.
Yeah, it's in yours. It's not in mine. It's a brute force method for me to figure out how to do the customer facing sales for sure. It's trial and error.
But there has to be, and I get it. It's still a challenge and it's difficult. But if you had to choose an audience that you've got to go try to sell something to, the off-road community, you couldn't ask for a more accepting and comfortable environment to try to sell it. I mean, you got to have thick skin. They're going to wear you out, but So
unfortunately, we know the customer very well, so you're not trying to sell to someone you don't know. It's like I have been standing right there looking at someone selling this type of thing or other off-road parts and stuff. So I know what you're looking for at least a little bit. So I'm going to try and meet you there, but everybody's different. You kind of have to adapt to who you're talking to.
Well, and I think another challenge there too is because the product, it's not like a simple, one, I don't know, like an air hose. Okay, you can kind of understand its purpose, pretty straightforward. It's in the name. And our thing is, one, a lot of people don't know what a portal axle is. So just being like, hey, do you know what a portal axle is? And they often are just blank staring at you. I have no idea. So even explaining what that is, which is very hard, especially if you don't have one in front of you or you don't have a vehicle in front of you with it, So that's been a kind of an interesting challenge. Certainly some people come up and you're like, hey, do you know what a portal axle is? And they're like, yeah, I have a Humvee or whatever, or I was in the military. So yeah. So that, and then explaining why it's worth $15,000, all the boxes it checks, and what I think that has been a little bit challenging as well. And we've certainly gotten both ends of it, where people are like, 15,000, that's amazing, that's a great deal, that totally makes sense. And other people are like, 15,000, are you kidding me? I could build a whole vehicle. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's it is a lot of money. There's no doubt. So helping people understand what it is, why you'd want it. That has definitely been the challenge that we've been getting better at, I think, over time.
What's the dynamic like? I mean, I just see it as a third party here, but between the two of you guys on a day-to-day basis, is you'd known each other before you decided to go into business together, which if I remember the story, one of you like text the other and was like, hey bro, do you want to open a portal company?
Yeah,
was that not how it went? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Matt and I thankfully have done projects like this before together. We went to college together. We were senior project partners together. We designed a steering rack for our Baja SAE club. We designed a gearbox actually for the car. We've been friends forever. We actually joke all the time that we had the same childhood. And one of us will make some random reference, some TV show from the early 90s, or I don't know, some pop culture thing. And the other one will look over and be like, I get it, we had the same childhood, whatever. so culturally, we're very well aligned, so it makes it pretty easy. And then I think for the most part, we're pretty level-headed. I'm a little bit more, hyperactive, bouncing around, ambitious. 50 ideas around. Yeah, anxious. And Matt's certainly more level and calm on that. So that actually is really good, because if I was completely free and there was no one to say, hey, maybe let's table that idea.
Let's rein it in, man. 8 steps. Let's back up over here.
And that partially is, again, our friendship and our again, having the same type of childhood, but also I think we've had a lot of similar experiences in our careers, and so we're both very good at understanding kind of the minutia, the detail, and also taking a step back and understanding the bigger picture. So, I mean, we've started down these roads of, well, let's design this crazy feature or whatever into the thing. And then we'll be a week in and go, wait. That is not a good use of our time. I mean, CTIS is a good example. It's a great idea. We want to do it at some point. We agreed, we basically don't have time to spend on that. So we're going to just pause on it. And it's just something that we agree on. So for the most part, we get along very well and work together.
I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone is going to choose not to make the purchase they were going to make from you because CTIS isn't available yet. Yeah.
That doesn't mean I don't still want it for snow.
I know.
Figure it out at some point.
CTIS and that 5-axis machine, and you'll be set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Things I want, I don't need, but I want them.
What has there been any setbacks along the way that were really frustrating at the time, but now you're grateful that it played out that way, either from a design or production standpoint?
I mean, every time we have a failure, like that. I mean, and I think both of us, we have, in the moment, maybe it sucks. A good example is, we talked about the output flange breaking, but again, lucky it happened then, not 6 weeks later or whatever. But another good example is on the stub shaft nut that we have that holds the stub shaft in there. We had one of those come loose and back out and basically drill a hole in the outer cover. It's right there, and drilled into the brake rotor. And this happened while I was at Johnson Valley, and I had driven there, no tow vehicle. So I'm like, getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden there's a ton of oil out of one of the portals because there's a freaking 1.5 inch hole in the side of it. And I'm like, oh, I'm 500 miles away from home. I can't just get a tow home. What the am I going to do? Oh, sorry. Whatever. What am I going to do? In the moment I'm having a real bad day. I mean, it sucked, we had a fun time wheeling that weekend and whatever. And then I kind of went for a walk, as I did call a tow truck. And thankfully we have some friends that live close enough to there that we could get towed there, and they've got a garage and we could stay with them. So, all in all, it was not that big of a deal, but I had to calm down, go for a walk. I was so frustrated and annoyed and whatever. I wanted to be home, whatever. And then as I kind of, sit back and reflect, and it's like, well, I'm so thankful that happened to me, because that spurred a design change to where now we have this locking mechanism in there. So if you are, again, on the trail, take this thing apart, put it back together, and you don't have your torque wrench or whatever, and you forget to tighten it, you don't put Loctite in there. As long as you put that locking piece in there with a snap ring that holds it in place, that thing's not coming loose. So now I have the peace of mind that will never happen to someone else. And if it does, it's because they forgot to put the actual part in there. But most likely, that's never going to happen again. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the typical reaction that we have, is like, oh, this sucks, but oh, thank God it happened to us.
I like how you said, if you don't have your torque wrench on the trail, dang well those are going to be ugga-dugga on there, and that's that. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, so let me make sure before we kind of hit our rapid fire and wrap up here, that we've got all the pertinent information out there. So October 1, is that when you can order on the website? So if you go to the website right now, this is September 24th. I don't know when we'll get this out there, but don't freak out if it says sold out on the website. That's going to change, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So everything is listed as sold out. We don't have any order quantity yet, but on October 1, you can essentially pre-order your portals for all of the available vehicles that we have on the website. So yeah, you will be able to go on, click add to cart, pay down your deposit, and we'll have you on the list to make you some portals on starting October 1st.
50% down, half down. Is that correct?
Correct.
And,
yeah.
Then the other half when it ships, or how does that work?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in terms of this,
go ahead.
Just the schedule. Yeah. So taking pre-orders, and then we're giving ourselves a lot of runway so that we hopefully can deliver when we say we're going to deliver. We're planning on starting deliveries maybe March, most likely April of next year. So just want to make sure that, you're aware, putting down deposit is still going to be a while till we receive them, but before next summer. So that's the game plan right now.
No, I think as long as I know this because I've had this conversation, because there are multiple manufacturers in this sector that fail to communicate those lead times properly, and the community talks about it. So you guys are doing it the right way and being conservative with your estimates. So
well, and honestly, it's a part of it is just because of our Jeep early adopters group. We've had at least 3 delays now, where we've had to email them and say, hey, remember when we said it was going to be August? Now it's going to be September. Oh, remember when we said it was going to be September? Now, so we're trying to give ourselves some buffer, and certainly they're going to be starting around that April timeframe. That doesn't mean every single one will go out in April, but that's kind of our goal right now.
Let me ask this, and if it's too early to even think about it, then you can tell me that. But we're talking about the Jeeps. We're talking about Tacomas and 4Runners on the Toyota side, that platform. Do we have a vision of what the next supported vehicle round might look like?
We have some ideas, but we've got some market research, I think, to do between now and then.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely have been evaluating, the 6th gen 4Runner platform, the TNGA F full platform from Toyota, because that covers a lot of vehicles. We've also been evaluating like older stuff, older Jeeps, older Toyotas, to see if like that fits our group. And And then probably the only other one we've really looked at is the Super Duty Dana 60 stuff.
And Ineos.
And we looked at the Ineos. Yeah, the Ineos.
We looked at the Ineos and kind of went, "Ooh, that's going to be hard." So,
yeah.
that's for that one. But
yeah. The other ones, though, it's kind of like all those have probably some equal weight right now on which way we're going to go. And I think we got to honestly just reach out to the people around us and the market and say, hey, if we have this offering for the JK, if we put it on an XJ or on the newest 4Runner, where do we see more customers coming in?
Yeah,
right?
that's fair. Well, selfishly, I'll say if you look at that Land Cruiser market, the 200 series,
it's there.
But listen, remember, you get the Tundras, the 07 to 21 Tundras, and the Sequoias as well. So, and those Tundra guys will buy some parts. So
yeah. And that's part of the equation too, right? How much effort is it to do this thing? For example, like we've had a lot of TJ people reach out. So there's some ways that we can make it where you could basically use the JK ones with minimal changes to make that work. So in that case, maybe that's not the biggest market, but if it takes us very little effort,
but if it's not a lot of time and dollars, then sure.
Right. Yeah. And what you were saying is a perfect example of where, like, the Toyota platform covers how many hundreds of thousands of vehicles that are out there. Like, okay, maybe it's a little bit more work to do that, but then we have this huge market that we go through. So that's kind of how.
And then you get into if you want to try to hit the international markets because that adds to the numbers. And you guys know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure you've had many conversations about that. All right, rapid fire here. So, question number one: early morning, like sunrise, rise, or night ride?
I am not a morning person, and we don't do that many night runs. But like when we do, I love a good night run. I'm a big fan
because nothing good happens on a night run, and you're good with that. That's the excitement going into it.
Yes,
yeah.
You're starting at 10 o'clock at night, and it's going to be a shit show.
It's going to be catastrophic.
You're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Night run for sure, especially King of the Hammers night run. There's nothing better.
Oh my god, yeah.
I've seen the videos. Yeah, that's wild.
It's wild. Yeah.
All right. What is your camp comfort item? So what's the bougie item that you take to camp or carry in the truck that's non-essential? So we had our friend Kai on, and his was his microwave.
Wow, that's next level. Damn,
I got nothing like that.
Yeah. I'll say we do mostly rock crawling stuff. Like we haven't done a ton of overlanding, but like we camp on the trail occasionally and do a lot of that. I have been made fun of for having an awning for a while, and I love the awning. I'm so happy to have an awning on the side of the Jeep. Like I got the Gladiator that I have now and put a bed rack on it just to put an awning on. That was the only purpose, because I love having nice shade in the middle of wherever we're at.
Well, I tell you what, that's funny that the rock crawling scene gives you a hard time about that, because you see them more and more over here where we've got a lot of trees and a lot of tight trails, because on the nasty trails, you can lean the truck over and let the awning rest on the tree rather than taking the truck out.
It's a much cheaper roll cage. Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think what would be like. I'm pretty basic when I camp. I've got a little 2-person tent. I have a simple mattress. I usually don't bring anything to cook with. Actually, no, I know what it is. I just bought this year at Overland Expo. Is one of those what are they called? The propane fire pits.
Oh yeah.
It is awesome. I was like pretty skeptical about it, and to be able to just like, hey, you guys want to have a fire? Pop it out. 3 seconds later, it's lit. It's ready to go. Oh, you guys want to go to bed and want to put out the fire? Off. That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
And you can run that in a lot of places that there's campfire bans.
Right. So, which in California is like, starting in July every year. So
yeah. All right. What's the one mod that you're like, man, I should have done this years ago? Maybe it wasn't really expensive, but you're like, why did I wait so long on this?
I'll say from my my old Jeep, hydro assist. It was like night and day. Yeah, Matt's shaking his head.
Yep.
Yeah. Like we were talking about, we do rock crawling. We have lockers on all the time. Hydro assist for sure.
Yeah, I had Detroit's front and rear in my XJ.
Oh,
and impossible to turn. And
sure.
hydro assist was like, you can. I'm not saying it turned tighter, but it certainly turned easier.
Yeah.
Still shove the front end everywhere, but man, it was one finger turning to get it around a corner.
What is your drop everything destination? So if there's one place you get a chance to go wheel tomorrow, that you drop everything to go there. Maybe it's a trail, maybe it's a park.
I feel like Iceland.
Ooh,
Like
really good.
It's just
one,
it's completely unique from anything I've ever done. So I think that would be up there.
Yeah, we're so fortunate that we like wheel on some of the trails that are a lot of people's bucket list trails and stuff. So you're right. I think it's got to be out of the country somewhere for me. Like there isn't a trail I can think of that I'm like, man, I really have to hit that in the U.S. Maybe the Smoky Mountain area is definitely a place we want to.
We're
explore.
ready whenever you're ready to come. Yeah,
yeah, that's definitely on the.
We'll be there.
We'll
be there next year.
Man, Iceland, that's a good one.
I just happened to chair the Great Smoky Mountain Trail Ride every year, so I'm just saying, Matt.
Not biased at all. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. All right. Last question here. If you could borrow a rig, steal a rig for 1 week, any rig out there, maybe it's a YouTuber's rig, or maybe it's your buddies that you've been gawking at for years. Whose rig are you taking for a week?
Does it have to be like a realistic one, or could I just shoot for the moon?
Oh boy.
I'm going to let you shoot because I want to hear what this is.
If I could get behind the wheel of like Lauren Healy's Ultra 4 car.
Oh,
for a
okay.
week,
There you go.
I don't think I'd survive.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. El Bandito would be just, I don't think I may not make it because my smile would be too big and hurt my face. And I don't know. I'd pass out from the excitement. Just like, yeah, I think that would be it for me.
Oh man, that's such a good one. Now I'm like, I was actually thinking.
I did the peak here.
yeah. I was actually thinking Marvin from Flex Rocks and Rollovers. The Jeepster that thing's pretty sick. So, and I just watched a video of his recently. I guess he put a new motor in it. It sounds like it's much better controlled and whatever. But like 42-inch stickies and a V8
with a Hemi, yeah.
Yeah, and
and he's got new suspension. Yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah. That thing is pretty dumb. It's unique. It's so cool. It's very unique. Yeah.
And it's like the right dimensions and everything to be a good rock crawler too. So
yeah, it's an impressive rig, and that's one. Well, I mean, we've seen it. Marvin takes it everywhere, and it works in every condition. So
right.
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on and getting us up to speed. Hopefully we'll be reconvening here in another year and talking about how you're knocking it out of the park and buying a 5-axis mill and, just churning them out. So, but seriously, congratulations on getting it this far. You guys have done a great job. I really commend you on this build in public mentality and being transparent with it. And I think it's really going to pay off.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
been a fun journey.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool. See you guys.
All right.